Two families were grieving. Dominic Russo's mother was planning a funeral for her 20-year-old son. Davion Flanagan family was doing the same for their 19-year-old. The verdict had just come down. Guilty on 4 counts of murder, and the courtroom was filled with people whose lives had been permanently destroyed. And in the middle of all of that, Mackenzie Shirilla picked up the jail phone. She did not call to grieve. She did not cry for Dom. She did not speak his name. She called her mother to talk about the men who were writing to her. This is what those calls revealed. You are watching Hidden Crime Files. We go deeper than the headlines, deeper than the documentaries, and deeper than anyone else is willing to go on cases the public thinks they already understand. If you are not subscribed, hit that button right now. We cover cases like this every single week, and we always find what everyone else missed. Subscribe. Let's get into it. Dominic Russo was 20 years old. Strongsville, Ohio, a suburb outside Cleveland. By every account from the people who loved him, he was the kind of young man who filled a room. Generous, social, a future that was just beginning to take shape. Davion Flanagan was 19. Dominic's friend, in that car for no other reason than being with the wrong person at the wrong time. Mackenzie Shirilla had been in a relationship with Dominic for roughly 4 years. She was 17 at the time of the crash. From the outside, a teenage relationship. Inside, court testimony revealed something far darker. Prosecutors described it as toxic and escalating. There were fights, threats, moments recorded on Dominic's own phone where Shirilla was heard degrading him, threatening him, damaging his property. 2 weeks before the crash, Shirilla was driving on Interstate 71 with Dominic as a passenger when she threatened, out loud, to crash the car. Dominic called his mother from the passenger seat. A friend came to pick him up. That friend arrived to find Shirilla physically striking Dominic on the side of the road. Dominic got out, but he got back in. On July 31, 2022, in the early morning hours, Shirilla was behind the wheel of her Toyota Camry with Dominic beside her and Davion in the back. She drove into a Strongsville business park. An area GPS data later suggested she had visited before, and she accelerated. The car's event data recorder told the story no defense argument could undo. Full accelerator. 0 brakes. 100 miles per hour into a brick wall. Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan were pronounced dead at the scene. Mackenzie Shirilla survived. Investigators initially approached the crash as a potential accident. That door closed fast. No skid marks. Not one mark on the road surface indicating any attempt to stop or correct. The event data recorder confirmed what the road confirmed. Full acceleration, 0 braking, sustained all the way through impact. She never tried to stop. They pulled her phone, her texts. What they found was a documented record of escalating volatility going back years. Prosecutors argued this was not isolated teenage frustration. It was a pattern, and it had been building toward something. Trial testimony established that Dominic had been trying to end the relationship in the weeks before his death. Shirilla had reportedly broken into his house during one of their disputes. She had threatened him in front of witnesses. She had, on at least one prior occasion, threatened to crash the car while he was inside it. GPS data placed Shirilla in that same Strongsville business park on a prior occasion. The location was not random. It had been visited before. After the crash, authorities found psilocybin mushrooms and a digital scale in Shirilla's possession. A social media video that surfaced before sentencing showed Shirilla stating that drugs had no effect on her, directly contradicting the defense's medical emergency argument. The bench trial began August 7, 2023. Shirilla waived her right to a jury. Judge Nancy Russo presided, no relation to Dominic. The defense argued POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, caused a blackout behind the wheel. No memory, no intent. The prosecution took it apart point by point. On August 14, 2023, Judge Nancy Russo delivered the verdict. Guilty. 4 counts of murder. 4 counts of felonious assault. 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide. Drug possession. Possessing criminal tools. 12 felony counts total. The judge described watching Shirilla on surveillance footage drive toward that wall. She said Shirilla had a mission, and executed it with precision. On August 21, 2023, Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to 15 years to life. Earliest parole, October 29, 2037. She is currently housed at the Ohio Reformatory for Women in Marysville. She was 19 when sentenced. She will be in her 30s before she can ask a parole board to let her out. If you are following this case with us, hit subscribe right now. We cover cases like this every single week, and we always go deeper than the headlines. Stay with us, because what happened after that verdict is where this story gets truly disturbing. The verdict was in. The sentence was handed down. Two families were burying their sons. And Mackenzie Shirilla was sitting in the Cuyahoga County Jail waiting for transfer to state prison. She had access to a jail phone. She used it. What those calls reveal is not what her defense team argued inside that courtroom. There is no grief in these recordings. No woman processing the loss of someone she claimed to have loved. No mention of Dominic Russo or Davion Flanagan in any meaningful way. What there is, almost immediately, is the men. Within hours of the verdict coming down, Shirilla was on the phone with her mother, Natalie Shirilla, talking about the volume of men who had been reaching out to contact her. Prison pen pal websites, messages flooding in from across the country, including one man who identified himself as a soldier stationed abroad. All of them writing to Mackenzie Shirilla, convicted murderer, to introduce themselves. Shirilla was excited. She told her mother she was nervous to reply because the men were writing back so fast. She read messages out loud on a recorded jail line. She asked her mother whether she should tell them her real age. She described herself to one man as someone who used to model and had attended college for nutrition. Neither was true. She was a 17-year-old high school senior in Strongsville, Ohio on the night of the crash. No college. No modeling career. Her mother's response: encouragement. No correction. No hesitation. Natalie Shirilla co-signed the lie without a single pause. By the end of that call, Shirilla was managing conversations with at least two separate men, while her mother waited patiently on the line. The person she had publicly claimed was the love of her life was in the ground. Davion Flanagan was in the ground. And Shirilla had a handwritten paper list tracking who was writing to her and what they said. Dom barely came up. When he did, it was not grief. It was not guilt. It was a subject that got navigated around, briefly touched, and quickly redirected back to the conversation that actually held her attention. The public reaction to the verdict also came up. Natalie relayed stories of supporters, people in Strongsville who believed the conviction was wrong. A woman from Mississippi posting in Mackenzie's defense on social media. Both Shirilla and her mother treated this like validation. Proof the world could see what they saw. Neither of them spent meaningful time on the Russo family. Neither of them spent meaningful time on the Flanagan family. The two young men who were dead because of what happened in that business park were not the subject of these calls. There was also a fellow inmate near Shirilla's cell block. Someone held under separate circumstances, apparently in crisis, heard throughout multiple recordings. Screaming, singing at all hours. Relentless. Shirilla complained about her the way someone complains about a noisy neighbor. She was serving 15 to life for 2 murders. She was bothered by the noise. These calls did not come out at trial. They are not a legal exhibit. But taken alongside everything the court did hear, the texts, the prior threats, the GPS data, the event recorder, the picture they form is very hard to walk away from. Prosecutors argued from the beginning this was not a crime of sudden passion. They argued it was deliberate, that Shirilla took Dominic to a location she had been before, pressed the accelerator to the floor, and never changed her mind. The event recorder confirms it. Not for a single second between the gas and the wall did she change her mind. The calls from jail are consistent with that argument. No guilt. No unraveling. A young woman in a county jail who appears to view her situation primarily as a social inconvenience and an unexpected source of new attention. A fellow inmate, Mary Catherine Crowder, who spent over 6 months incarcerated alongside Shirilla at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, spoke publicly after the Netflix documentary's release. She said Shirilla never appeared remorseful. She said Shirilla allegedly told others she had been high at the time of the crash. And she described Shirilla as treating prison like a high school popularity contest. focused entirely on appearance, status, and perception. The appeals went nowhere. September 2023, Ohio 8th District Court of Appeals upheld the conviction in full. October 2024, post-conviction relief petition filed 1 day past the statutory deadline. Denied. February 2025, Ohio Supreme Court petition filed. May 2025, Ohio Supreme Court declined to hear the case. March 2026, 8th District affirmed the denial of the 2024 petition. Every door closed. Shirilla remains at the Ohio Reformatory for Women. First parole hearing, 2037. Dominic Russo's sister Christine said it clearly after the Netflix documentary brought renewed attention to this case. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and Davion. There is nothing to add to that. If this case stayed with you, you are exactly who this channel is built for. We do not just cover crimes here. We follow the evidence, the people, and the truth wherever it leads, on cases the world has already moved on from and on cases blowing up right now. Subscribe so you never miss one. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think these jail calls tell us about what really happened on July 31st, 2022? We read every single one. For Dominic Russo. For Davion Flanagan.